flowers and Bryson shoots. Down with love, the root of all midnight blues. Down with things that get
Well, welcome to Do They Deserve Love podcast. I am one half of your host, Alan Shane Lewis, and
I'm the other half, Sarah Callie Duria.
And welcome to our podcast, a podcast where we watch rom-coms and then at the end of it, discuss if they deserve the love in the movie that they fought for.
Yeah.
And today's movie is a classic. It is Down with Love.
Down with Love.
Yes, it's directed by Peyton Reed.
Yep.
And,
Same guy from a couple classics.
Yeah, Ant-Man movies.
I'm Ant-Man. I know. Wasn't my idea.
Not just Ant-Man.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, you're right.
Wasp. But also Bring It On.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He directed Bring It On and The Breakup.
Oh.
And Jim Carrey classic, Yes Man. You know when he says yes to everything?
I thoroughly enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
Not to do spoilers, but I really thought at the end this would have a breakup ending.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was going there, and I was like, yeah, because there's not enough time to put a bow on this.
I mean,
And then
perhaps that would be more an honest telling of the story. Honesty or realism is not the goal for this movie.
Oh, not at all. And I like that. I like how it plays with certain elements, and it's just like having a fun time, and it's just like, oh, it's a little romp. It's a romp.
It's a romp. It's exactly
made
the word.
the 60s look beautiful, even though I was like, oh, racism. But like,
and it's infused. It's in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's in there.
But is it on purpose?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think it's just like that's how we spoke in
That's how
2003, and I think that's why it's there.
That's how we got away with it. You mean you got away with it in 2003, but also very much so in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's New York City, and there's no black or Jewish people.
None. So an ideal New York, I guess, for the 1960s white people.
Yeah, it's very white, very sanitized, and every time they kind of like go around the world, it's the most basic racist stereotypes.
And even like, oh man, that book scene.
Yeah.
Also, just like when they even hung out with the beatniks, they were just like,
yeah,
you could get me one black beatnik in there.
Yeah,
come on. I saw so many berets, but not one afro underneath it. I was like, for real, come on, now. Come on, bro.
Not even a curly.
Yeah.
Not even a curly bro.
Yeah, from the get go, just like the music was fun. Yeah. That was Michael Bublé, I believe, in the beginning. Was that him?
Was it?
I don't know, that crooner.
They had a lot of crooner.
Yeah.
I thought it was Sinatra, or maybe,
I thought it was Bublé doing Sinatra, which is my favorite CD. Bublé does Sinatra.
Down with love, let's liquidate all its friends. The moon, the June, the roses and rainbows and...
But I got visibly excited in the opening crawl when I saw David Hyde Pierce's name.
Yeah.
I have such...
he's lovely in the movie. He's so charming and cute.
He's Niles.
He's Niles Crane.
He's Niles Crane in this movie.
Yeah.
And I love it. I
will say it's definitely a throwback to a type of movie that I have not watched much, like these Doris Day, Rock Hudson movies, apparently. Doris Day being this blonde bombshell, and kind of always the kind of prototype feminist in the 50s and 60s. Mm-hmm. So not necessarily the most modern, but like modern for 1950s in the sense that they'd be like put her in a place like a newspaper. She'd be like the new reporter. And
like, wow, strides.
She'd be a reporter just doing her job and be seen as kind of gutsy and Rock Hudson, gay icon.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say too. So it's so funny. So are they alluding to that with that whole... Because I thought the whole David Hyde Pierce...
A little.
Was that kind of a nudge to that, or was it also to David Hyde Pierce's own like personal life?
I think in those comedy duos, they always have kind of like
the couple.
In most rom-coms today, they have the main couple and then the side couples.
Yeah.
And the side couples tend to have like kind of opposite problems or like right.
I hate this person.
Yeah, or just like on the other spectrum. So like in that first couple, they're like there's so much ego on the male side. And then in the other couple, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
The ego's kind of on the
and I love how she was
side.
like, if you're gay, I don't care. I'm just like,
let's just be a power couple. Anyways.
Yeah, that's a boss move. Sarah Paulson, loving it.
It's another, The cast is amazing.
Yeah, great cast. I could have used a little bit more Rachel Dratch and
right?
also
The SNL guy?
What's his name again?
The cupcakes dude.
He does a lot of commercials as some type
The
of
voice?
insurance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Carl-
He's also
Carl-
an Archer.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him, and I don't know his name right
Oh
now.
gosh. We'll come back. We'll
come back to that.
We'll circle back.
Yeah, it was just a fun movie. There was a lot of fun moments in it that I enjoyed. I love the fact that his accent was just so thick and Scottish.
Right?
And I'm like, are you not Scottish?
Where
Just
are
be
you supposed to
Scottish.
be? Yeah.
Just be Scottish.
Who are you?
I don't understand. I don't know why we stop these like leading people from
Yeah.
being like their own. Like if they can't do the accent,
Yeah.
that's gonna be more distracting for me than them.
Was
like,
it that distracting for him in this
for
movie?
me to
Yeah?
see him like
Struggle?
get rid of it and sometimes say the word bull and then like come back and like just be Scottish. I'm so fine with you being Scottish.
All right. I think no, actually, if he was Scottish, it would throw me off altogether. If he was like extra Scottish,
A Scottish playboy. Not today. Turns off the movie. I would like, and he's like this James Bond-esque kind of
Yes.
character.
or
so-
even Sinatra, because Sinatra wasn't that he wasn't that hot of a man, but still kind of like charismatic, smooth. What does he call himself? Ladies' man,
Yeah.
man about town.
I guess we should explain the plot.
Yeah.
It's essentially So he's this smooth reporter
Yeah.
from some
For like a
magazine.
GQ magazine.
Yeah,
it's
one
called
of these
Now.
No.
For the man in the know.
Yeah. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
They do a lot of wordplay in the movie.
So much wordplay. I was like, is this movie for me? Like this is
So
it.
at one point, Barbara Novak she's told that he's gonna report on her, and she's like, "No," and he's
Yeah.
like, "No, it's gonna be great." No, I know,
but
it's
no.
no magazine.
Who's on first? Nice little Abbott and Costello thing.
Catcher Block gets anything he wants.
Do you work for me?
Barbara Novak
Here's to Bannerhouse's new #1 author.
has everything she needs.
And it's all in my book. Down with love, not sex.
So yeah, he's doing the he's this like sexy GQ guy, and he writes all these.
But the story starts with Barbara, right? Like first scene is Barbara.
Yes.
She's new in town in New York City, and they point her out as being like 1 in 8 million people, and she's coming from somewhere in the
Maine.
Midwest.
Yeah, Maine.
Or Maine, yes,
Yeah.
to promote her book, which I forget the name now, but it's a self-help
Down
book for
with
women.
Love,
Down with
isn't
Love, yeah. Gosh,
I was like, wait, is it?
what?
Yeah.
And everyone thinks, and she's what's her name? What is the actress name? Renee Zellweger. And everyone, no one's met her yet, and everyone assumes she's like this kind of bookish librarian. Everyone assumes she's a brunette, which is a big deal.
Because
Apparently.
she writes a book. Blondes can't write books.
But there's all these stereotypes people have about her. But she happens to be fashionable and young and pretty, and she has this self-help book, and no one wants to help her. She has a publisher who's also a woman. They present her. What's her name? Oh man, I had it right here. Vicky Hiller. Vicky Hiller.
I love
is
her.
Yeah,
I love her.
There's so much fashion happening.
Yeah,
there's
so
so much
much.
fashion.
There's-
It's lovely.
There's a point in the movie where they have the coats opposite, and then they take the coats off, and then their dresses are
inside.
now the opposite
Yeah,
of like
color,
what that.
color coordinating. It's great.
Oh,
It's
I love
great.
it. I love it.
Pattern coordinating.
Yeah.
Amazing. Vicky Hiller is her publisher, but she works. She's the only woman in the publication firm, and they're all kind of giving her a hard time about it. No one wants to give her any money, and then somehow they find Judy Garland to do a song.
Yeah.
on the
I
Ed
was
Sullivan
just-
show.
I had to rewind. I was like, did I miss a scene? Because I was writing something. I'm like, wait, how are we here?
They have a song. She has a song called "Down with Love," and she performs it, and it kind of cross promos, and then she kind of explodes.
But in this song, do they ever explain that by the way, buy this book? Or people are just like, oh wow, that song's cool. Oh, so there's a
There's
book?
a book with that name, pretty much.
But then there's only one book in each store. So
Because the publication firm didn't want to put any money
Yeah.
into it. Yeah. And so Vicky Hiller is using her kind of links with other places, and she knows the editor at No Magazine, right? David Hyde Pierce's character, and wants kind of an article about this writer and this book. But the man about town,
he's a piece of shit.
He doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, what
And
was-
in fact, it's her book is kind of messing up his love life.
Yeah.
Okay?
But even before it messed up
Yeah.
his love life, he's still like remember all those meetings we're supposed to have, and he
Yes.
was just like, "Oh, I can't be there. I'm with a poodle." She's like, "Well, you should put something in its butt."
Yes.
It's just like
Is that little bitch with you right now? Like, whoa!
I love it. So many entendres.
Yeah.
It's a French famous fancy movie. I love it. Yeah, and then so back and forth.
Yeah.
They kind of like. I
So
guess
they're
it
like-
agitates her.
Yeah, and they've not even met yet, and they're like, they're growing a beef.
Yeah,
it's a growing.
Will they
beef.
ever find love? Woo, sit in for
Will
the next
they?
hour and 40 minutes. Let me
But it's
tell
not
you.
even about that. First, she's like willing to do the interview. She's excited about it, but then she realizes he's been blowing her off all this time, like every. And then on the flip, he discovers that she's not ugly.
Whoa!
What?
Stop the presses.
And not a brunette.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. There's a weird hierarchy with white people in like
Right?
hair color. They're like, oh, gingers are the worst. I'm like, y'all just have
What?
the same. All right, whatever. I don't understand this.
Yeah. And so, right, it's so close to blonde too. It's
Yeah.
just like, what? What's happening?
All right.
It's weirdly close to being blonde, but also being black.
It's like-
just
yeah.
like, right? A
It's
redhead.
scary.
It's
Yeah.
like, it's weird.
Yeah.
But so on a flip side, he discovers she's not ugly, and so he decides he wants to trick her into an interview. Not necessarily an interview, but an expose.
Yeah, because that's when like it's starting to affect him.
That book is ruining my life. All our wives are giving us trouble.
You have to solve this catch. Squash her! All women want love and marriage. I'm going to write the expose of the century. And I am going to make Novak fall in love. Wow!
You've never heard of my book, Down with Love?
No, ma'am, I have not.
Once it's affecting him, then he's like, well, she's got to go. She's got to go.
Yeah.
He's going to take his revenge by making her fall in love with him and making her denounce everything in this book so that everyone, all these women who are blowing him off will be like, well, if our leaders do the worst, well, then maybe we'll give him some poom now.
Yes.
Like, that's his entire plan. It's so diabolical, yet it's charming for some reason.
Is it charming?
It's supposed to be charming. Like, I don't get it. It's so evil.
It's pretty
It's
sick.
so
It's
evil.
pretty sick.
But he's just like does it with a smile, and you're like, why are we supposed to root for
Why
this?
are we on this ride with you?
I don't
Yeah.
want to be on board with this.
Correct.
And it's this whole game where he's just like playing her and like making her fall in love, and he's like refusing to let
And
her.
he's kind of being like the innocent farm boy. He's he's an astronaut now.
Yeah.
Zip something. I forget.
Yeah.
He's the one who's kind of like, I'm gonna wait till I'm married before I
Yeah.
have relations. And what else? He's just kind of the opposite of her all of a sudden. She seems very worldly in comparison.
There's a part where they're like the women are having sex like men now, and that's a problem. It's just like what?
But doesn't someone else say finally?
I think it's David Hyde Pierce. Yeah,
finally.
yeah.
Or like how? I'm a man. I'm not how are they having sex as a man? Like a man? I'm not.
Yeah, just the detachment of love and sex and women
A
have
lot of
each,
very binary gender identity, like performances happening.
like women replaced love with like chocolate or something
Yes.
like that. Like
Oh yeah, in her book, it's like unclear what the book is about, but it's essentially women can have. I think the goal, like when you get to the final level, is like
sounds like a cult. When you're finally clear.
when you get it clear is like you have sex like a man, and they call it a la carte, which I don't know what it means. It sounds like at a buffet, just like this, like that,
Yeah.
like this. But you have to learn to detach, and that's like you go through things. So like one is like stop dating altogether, you know, get find fulfillment in your career, eat chocolate if you're horny.
Yeah.
I guess.
Play that scene now, one of us, Alan. Yeah,
Go ahead,
Yeah,
yes.
that scene will play.
Yes.
And we're back,
Hey.
right? Wasn't that scene insane? Yeah.
And so he's trying to prove her wrong in that regard, in that women cannot be fully detached. that the goal cannot be having sex a la carte. The goal is still romantic love, etc. And he's gonna try to seduce her romantically, and he does so by kind of becoming David Hyde Pierce's character to a certain degree, right?
He like lived in his house and everything, pretended to cook all the things that David Hyde Pierce, who wasn't a real man, I'm gonna make her fall in love by this
Yeah.
and then at the end of it all, it turns out that after he's like, I got you right there. And she's like, nah, I knew you from before.
I knew all along.
Yeah, it's like a 14 minute.
It's so sick. It is so insane, but also epic in terms of like, who and why would you do this to a story?
Yeah. And that's where the movie gets me, where I'm just like, okay, is this really clever or is this just lazy storytelling? And I don't know. I enjoyed it.
It might be lazy in the sense that so much of this and is throwbacks to those movies I don't watch, those Doris Day, Rock Hudson movies, like to the point of like even the clever wordplay and even the cut up scenes where they're like interacting but not interacting are from those movies where they have like rules and laws about how sexuality would be portrayed, right? So they'd be more clever to kind of go around it. I'm pretty sure this movie's much more kind of pushing the bar. Like I'm sure there's things in this movie that could not have been done in the 50s, but like just visually, it's very much a throwback.
Yeah,
it's very much a copy, almost like a copy paste of like what's happened before.
There's one scene. I've also seen it being stylized in Simpsons, where it's that night on the town where they're on the dates and they're just like all
twirling,
the different things.
Yes.
I love that. I was like, oh yeah, more of this. Yeah,
the 30 dates that they have.
Yeah, 29 dates and 33 days.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That was cool. I like the scene where they're on the phone and they're talking to each other.
Yes,
and then they're like having sex.
Happening. Yeah.
That was fun. But that's the synopsis of the movie. I guess we'll come back and talk about different things that we like from it, and we'll see you guys in the next after the break.
Yeah, enjoy it.
Down with love, let's liquidate all its friends. The moon, the June, the roses and rainbows ends. Down with songs that moan about night and day. Down with the love, yes, take it away. Take it away.
Bad Nazis are good scientists. Like the guy building the rocket that'll land on the moon first and win us the space race. He's a Nazi. And I saw the top secret file to prove it. Here, I brought you a souvenir.
Whoa. A top secret NASA security clearance badge. How did you get this?
Blame it on the bossa nova.
The triplets?
We're good.
Yeah.
We're back. Hey, we are back with Do They Deserve Love into the second section. I don't know how to talk.
Part
how to talk.
2 of Down with Love.
Yeah. And really we want to talk about the conflicts.
Yeah.
And the meet cute.
Yeah. So the entire film is conflict. It's a little back and forth.
Yeah, it's conflict on conflict.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
sort of like we have this woman character and it's set up that the world she's in doesn't want her to do well.
No.
So conflict there.
Yeah.
She's supposed to do an interview with a guy, doesn't take her seriously. Conflict there. But really the main conflict is, what's his name? What's his name? Chip?
Oh. We should have all this stuff.
Oh, gosh. I have it right here.
Chip?
Catcher Block.
Catcher Block. CB.
Catcher Block.
That's a great name. I love how people come up with names of movies. That's pretty cool.
This one's fun, weird because I don't know what it's supposed to mean. But Catcher Block doesn't take her seriously, and the main conflict is he wants to kind of make her look like a fool, like publicly make her look like a fool. And so a lot of zany things happen. Very entertaining to watch.
It's real fun.
It's fun. You're like you want to go on the ride. You don't necessarily like him.
No.
But you're there.
You're like, okay. and even like the side problems, like the side characters, the best friends who go in their relationship, David Hyde Pierce and Sarah Paulson.
Yeah.
That's a fun one too.
They're so fun.
They're just trying to figure each other out. You
Yeah.
know, like he just has like this undying love for her, and she's just like, oh, these men. Well, what was that?
I think she's already a down with love person prior to the book. I think she's before this book. She's like basically like I want to get better professionally, etc. And men are like secondary. Do you know what I mean? Like you're adding to my life, or fuck off.
Let's play that one scene where they're at the dinner.
You see?
But it's so funny how like she's like, anyone who like sees me, like they revere me or something like that, and they don't want to like.
Yeah, like the conflict. Oh my gosh, how did she say it? We'll probably have a clip here. Yeah. No, she says something like either they respect me too much and don't want to have sex with me, or they don't respect me at all and want to have sex with me, and just sort of like that kind of lose-lose situation. And he's there like, I'll do both.
Damn right. That's so good. I love that scene. That was honestly, I would have watched an entire movie. Ooh, save it for the last part. Entire movie of
sequel.
Ooh. But yeah, that was cool. And then the deception, the layers of deception, and even to the point where I'm like, he's going to fuckboy. He was always a fuckboy, but like when he left that night,
fuckboy supreme. This guy, catch your block.
But like when he went into the party, and then like even there when she catches him, I'm like, wow.
And then flips it on her somehow.
Makes her feel bad.
What?
I was like, wow. What am I
watching? That was a weird thing too, because he was like, oh, I was on drugs. She put drugs in me, and then she's like, well, what were you doing at a party like that? And you're just like, whoa. What's happening?
Pump the brakes on all of this.
Yeah.
This is like all around. I'm like,
yeah.
There's that.
Wow. Yeah. But you're there for the ride. And I think that's the main one. And then on the flip side, you find out much later in the movie, she's been lying all along.
I'm not going to storm out of here, Catch. And I'm not going to admit that you got Barbara Novak to fall in love. Because I'm not Barbara Novak. There is no Barbara Novak.
Huh?
And I didn't fall in love with Sid Martin. I fell in love with Catcher Block. And that was a year ago, when for 3.5 weeks I worked as your secretary. I don't expect you to remember me. I wasn't a blonde then. But you did ask me out. And it broke my heart to say no. But I loved you too much. I couldn't bear to become just another notch in your bedpost. With your dating habits, I knew that even if I was lucky enough to get a regular spot on your rotating schedule, I would never have your undivided attention long enough for you to fall in love with me. I knew I had to do something to set myself apart. I knew I had to quit my job as your secretary and write an international bestseller, controversial enough to get the attention of a New York publisher, as well as no magazine, but insignificant enough that as long as I went unseen, no magazine's star journalist would refuse to do a cover story about it. I knew that every time we were supposed to meet, you would get distracted by one of your many girlfriends and stand me up, and this would give me a reason to fight with you over the phone and declare that I wouldn't meet with you for 100 years. And then all I would have to do was be patient and wait. The 2 or 3 weeks it would take for everyone in the world to buy a copy of my bestseller, and then I would begin to get the publicity I would need for you to, 1, see what I look like, and 2, see me denounce you in public as the worst kind of man. I knew that this would make you want to get even by writing one of your exposés. And in order to do that, you would have to go undercover, assume a false identity, and pretend to be the kind of man who would make the kind of girl I was pretending to be fall in love. And I knew that since I was pretending to be a girl who would have sex on the first date, you would have to pretend to be a man who wouldn't have sex for several dates. And in doing so, we would go out on lots of dates to all the best places and all the hit shows until finally, one night, you would take me back to your place that you were pretending was someone else's in order to get the evidence you needed to write your exposé by seducing me until I said I love you. But saying I love you was also my plan. I just wanted to tell you the truth so that when you heard me say I love you, you would know that I knew who you were and you would know who I was. Then you, the great Catcher Block, would know that you'd been beaten at your own game. by me, Nancy Brown, your former secretary, and I would have once and for all set myself apart from all the other girls you've known. All those other girls that you never really cared about, by making myself someone like the one person you really love and admire above all others. You. And when you realized that you had finally met your match, I would have at last gained the respect that would make you want to marry me first and seduce me later.
Kind of catching everyone in her own kind of web.
So yeah, this was her entire elaborate plan to win this man's affection, who she worked with before but didn't notice her. So she'd make a best-selling book, go to New York, or pretend to go to New York, make it a huge thing, and make all these women read it just so she can catch his attention.
She knew that he was gonna blow her off.
and that's just where it's divided between the things I love, the things I hate, because I still don't know. I'm like, yeah, I didn't see it coming.
You did not see it coming, no.
But I enjoyed it, but I don't know if I did enjoy it 100%.
But what's weird, and here's the part that loses me, is how he's on board immediately.
Yeah.
You're just like, you're not concerned, sir?
Yeah, because
Mr. Block?
Because it serves the purpose of the movie.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times
Yeah.
I feel like that's, like, exposition is just thrown at you so much. And it's on purpose in a way to be like, let's go. And I'm like, I like that. So here's the thing. I like it, but I would never defend this movie.
Yeah.
Fair, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I was watching with somebody.
It got terrible reviews initially.
Oh, really?
But since then, it's on all the, like, top rom-coms. Like, all the, since 2015 onwards, you'll notice there's, like, quite a few lists that it's on.
Okay.
But initially, it was not well reviewed.
2003, they weren't ready for this. They weren't ready for this type of sophistication. They're like, no, we need Ashton Kutcher or what's his name to fall in love with somebody, and that's what we need. But yeah, what else? What else?
And
did
I think
you
there's like a big. Here's the thing that it's almost revisionary history, and so much has happened like socially too since 2002 and today. But like a lot of it is sort of like looking at women's liberation and viewing that as like a conflict between the genders, right? And probably those Doris Day movies are kind of like that. She's sort of like this gutsy woman in a man's world, and somehow the chauvinist guy falls for her somehow. Yeah. But like. I think like a main conflict is how you see gender, and it plays with so much of it. Like a lot of the jokes are based on that. I'm just like what a man is and what a woman is and what their roles are. It's funny. It also, even that, you know, what were you doing at a party like that? It's kind of throwing what these assumptions people have about people, you know, or like excuses you make and how wrong they are.
So wait, was that supposed to be like a gender swapped?
I think so.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
I didn't give that movie.
What were you doing at a party like that?
I thought it was just like, this movie is saying some dangerous stuff, but I'm like, oh, is it supposed to be like?
Yeah, I think so, in a way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Either meaningfully or not, it kind of does. It serves that purpose.
Yeah.
In a way.
Whether it was intended or not. Yeah, that's great. I didn't even. Wow. I gotta watch the movie again.
But he is very much the, like, in a weird way, he's like the. I don't know. Between Barbara and Zip. Zip suddenly is like the young innocent girl.
Yeah, from small town, whatever,
yeah.
And him doing his best Forrest Gump impression.
Yeah. It's
get a little taste of his accent there. I'm just like, there's gonna be so many parts where we're gonna say and cut to, and then it's gonna come back, and there's gonna be nothing.
No audio. We don't have the rights.
It's just us doing our best impressions of those scenes.
Scripted.
Yeah, that scene for sure was not us. Let's talk about the meet cute, I guess, right?
Yeah, this was also. The meet cute is like dependent on that conflict because it's extended, right? Like there's so many scenes where they're kind of together, but it's via phone call. They've not met at all, but they're interacting. So even the really sexy scene where she's at home and he's at home, I think, right?
Which part?
It's they do
the
a split
phone?
screen.
Oh, yeah,
the
on the
split screen
phone
conversation,
Yeah.
right? They've not met.
Oh wait, which one are you talking about? The
Catcher Block and Barbara.
Yeah, the sex part where they're doing the sex thing.
The phone call, yeah.
The sex one?
Where they're doing all the sexy things.
No, they met from there.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because they were setting up a night to come to his place. His other.
Oh,
place.
was he being Zip?
Yeah, he was being Zip on that
okay,
phone.
that was being Kasha Block. Okay.
Oh no. He was Zip.
Right.
But
So it's at the
beginning.
laundromat.
Yeah, the laundromat is where he sees her,
Yeah.
and then that's when he goes to the laundromat thing and he plays all the games and
Yeah.
comes up with his name by doing the whole usual suspect, sees the name on the wall and brings it up. Just pure deception from the get go, but that's the thing. They've met before. He just hasn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize that.
Yes.
So for him and the audience, this is the moment where they've met.
That's true.
But I don't think he initially loves her or has these feelings for her. When do you feel like he starts to feel for her? Was it like after
It's literally after that speech. Because prior to that, he's like, I'm going to humiliate you, which is an awful thing to do to someone you care about, right? That's not even a question if you care about someone.
And he was like, I'm not going to
got
wave
you.
Yeah, even at the end, I thought he was going to be like, by the way, I was going to do this, but I'm not. He was like, nah, I'm going to still do it. I love you, but sorry.
He basically recorded her in the throes of passion.
Yeah. Without her knowledge.
Without her knowledge. Audio recorded her with the goal of like exposing her and her book as being a lie. So no, he didn't care about her until like after that whole speech. And maybe because he is kind of a lying, scheming person, only he can respect someone who's like similarly lying and scheming. There's an aspect of just like, here's an equal.
I gotta respect the hustle. I see you. You're
because that's why people like him. That's why David Hyde Pierce's character kind of idolizes him, right? There's like, even in the first scene that he's in, he's late.
Yeah.
Right?
And he hasn't written anything.
He hasn't written anything, and he was supposed to expose some Nazis in Argentina, but instead was hanging out with some showgirls, right? And somehow he finds a way to hang out with showgirls and expose the Nazis.
If only more people could be like that.
Multitask, guys.
Yeah. There's a line where he just says, but Nazis are bad. I gotta have
they're
that.
scientists. Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
And it plays here, that scene.
Yeah.
I'm setting myself up for failure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that the movie kind of takes away that moment where it's that like starry eye sees a person and like, oh, this is the person I'm gonna whatever. But so I don't know. It definitely
it's no real meet cute. It's almost like, well, that's kind of the point. It's also like, a lot of the meet cutes aren't necessarily like, oh, I feel for this person immediately. It's like, oh, I hate this person immediately.
But it's some type of visceral reaction, right? And this one, I felt like it didn't feel visceral. He was just like, that's my target. That's it. It wasn't just like, oh.
It was work.
It
was a Nazi. It was a Nazi you had to expose.
At the end of the day, you're just a Nazi I'm trying to expose. That just gave me an idea of fuckboy greeting cards. Make those. Hey, yo, baby, let me tell you something. You're just one of those Nazis. I had to expose. Happy anniversary, I think. I don't know what our anniversary is.
Lol.
Fuckboy greeting cards. Hallmark next week. Yeah. And there's this one thing I have to point out where Niles Crane talks about Sherry.
Which Sherry?
Sherry, the wine.
Okay.
He was talking about, that's just 100% Niles Crane, and I was like, that's for me. Thank you once again, movie, for this gift of Frasier. Yeah, those are the things that we love. Was there anything that's like you the racism that was like a heavy thing? That whole like
the racism.
Yeah,
there's saw Asians.
There's
Russians,
a point where the book goes. It sells worldwide, and first it goes to Europe, and it's funny because we can't be racist to Europeans. It goes to like France, and they're just like, oh, Eiffel Towers everywhere, French flag, that's the bookstore. Then it goes to like China, and then like first off, there's no bookstore. It's just a picture of like Mao, Chairman Mao, and the music switches up, and it's just like, I don't want to try to do that music with my mouth. It's whatever you think it is. It's that. And then they go to Russia afterwards, and it's like, and it's just like,
we're just and that's the only non-white people in the thing. At least there's no.
Well, I was gonna say that I don't want to say that word too, but there's like a Native American word that they use for like try to get your it was kind of like a sexual innuendo. I didn't spell it the right way because I don't know exactly the word, but I heard it and I was like, ooh, I don't know if that one's cool.
True.
But there's just like a bunch of that. But I guess once again, it's the 60s. Is that my excuse for it? Or was it supposed to be, or is it just what 2003 we can get away with, you know?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both. I mean, would the movie? I think the movie would still be the same without those things. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you could definitely
100%.
be a charming and funny movie without them.
And also,
yeah.
once again, do you think this movie was saying something, or do you think it was just like a fun romp?
I think it was just a fun romp. I don't know. I think like purposely saying something about gender. No.
Nothing like gender roles, nothing like that. It's just like, we're just gonna have some fun for a bit.
I think probably, well, because I think it's a little bit of both. I think because those movies were very, like, around the time where what do you call them? All those rules were in place, Hollywood rules about what they can get, like what they can talk about or what they can film. What are they? No, not prohibition.
1960s prohibition.
No, what is it? They had like real laws around like what you can say on screen or what you can do on screen, and so talking about relationships and romance and things like that got tricky, and a lot of really fun movies came out of that, and a lot of clever writing to say what you want to say without getting in trouble.
Yeah. And I guess this movie has a whole bunch of just innuendos and entendres and all these
so
different
heavy.
things. So
it's so heavy.
Maybe
with it.
is that because there's even a point which I noticed too where they're on their dates and they go see Lenny Bruce.
Yes.
So I was just like
a comedian.
Yeah, and like Lenny Bruce is like known for like pushing those
dirty,
boundaries and all this stuff like that.
I don't know. I don't think they would do it on purpose. It just doesn't feel connected to anything going on at the time in 2003. Do you know what I mean? To be purposeful enough.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting that quite a few, like Tony Randall or even Rock Hudson, not Tony Randall, but Rock Hudson being a gay icon, obviously closeted at the time, is in there. And also, what's her name? Kala? Vicky's character?
Oh, Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson, another gay icon. I feel like they're there.
Yeah.
There's something, I don't know. I definitely don't think it's on purpose because it just feels silly for the sake of being silly. Do you know what I mean? Like there's some points to be made, but it's sort of like because they're just there.
They're just there, right? Bam. That's a fun movie. And also, here to bookend everything, that person's name is Chris Parnell.
Chris Parnell.
Took me. I didn't. I tried to Google it. I didn't do well, but then it just
it.
hit to me, and I felt real good now. The endorphins. Ooh, the flavors. I feel them. But that is this. This will wrap up, I guess, this part, and we'll come back in after the break.
Yeah.
I sound so unsure of myself and everything. But thank you guys for listening for Do They Deserve Love podcast. See you guys in a minute.
Please be true. In other words, I love you.
Peter, are you all right? You seem nervous.
I don't seem guilty. What would I have to seem guilty about?
I didn't say guilty, I said nervous.
Are you accusing me of keeping something from you?
Peter, calm down. It's all right. You're not keeping anything from me. I already know.
What?
I know all about it. I've known all along.
You have?
Yes. And so what? So you're a homosexual, hopelessly in love with Catcher Block. That's no reason the two of us can't be married.
What? I'm not a homosexual.
Oh, Peter, come on. The cooking for Catch at his place, the pictures of Catch's parents at your place. Believe me, if there had been any other explanation, I would have found it. At one point, I even convinced myself that life was all one big zany sex comedy and you would switch keys with the lead to use his swinging pad to snare me.
I did switch keys with the lead.
Oh, please. If that's not what you feel guilty about, then what is?
Well, that Catcher Block is privately tricking Barbara Novak so he can publicly destroy her with one of his exposés.
What? And you've known about this all along? Where are they?
His place. My place. His place.
Goodbye, Peter. The wedding is off.
Vicky, wait! Let me explain. Where's my geisha? I need my shoes.
Hey, welcome back. It's Do They Deserve Love? I suddenly learned how to talk.
Yeah.
We're going through our last segments, or we want to talk about the things we loved and the things we did not, we didn't care for. We call them WTFs. What did you love? What did you love?
I just love the stylization of this movie. It was visually very pleasing, and I didn't want to take my eyes off of it.
It was very saturated colors.
Yeah, it was
right?
fun. It was fun. It was just very a fun romp.
Yeah. Like you
put that on
couldn't
the
take
poster.
anything seriously.
No.
Right? It was just sort of like you can't take anything happening seriously.
And it was so quick.
It was very quick.
No, it didn't sit anywhere. It just was boom, 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 boom.
Very true.
Yeah.
The music was great. The music was like popping from the beginning. I loved the fashion. I think we mentioned the kind of like coordinated fits that Barbara and Vicky, Sarah Paulson and Renee Zellweger would wear. They would go to restaurants and like there was one they had like cocoons. They had like coats that were like cocoons, and then they would drp it and
then
like
just,
go in with their like
just
ball
sit down,
gowns. And Catcher Block missed some outfits.
Mm-hmm.
They were slaying.
Those weren't for him, man. Those were just for them doing their own thing, and he missed out on that.
They were having fun. They would have like a whole coordinated taking off the coat thing. It was a lot of fun to watch and witness. I don't know. I love the music, the fashion.
Yeah, the music.
The jokes.
Michael Bublé and Holly Palmer.
Hey.
Down with Love. That's the song that will for sure be playing all around this.
All right.
Yeah, fashion was cool. Once again, that's very sanitized 1960s New York.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Oh,
Pause.
Well, we're just gonna pause for
We'll get back
1
to you.
second. We're recording again. We had a very angry delivery man drop off a parcel.
Gosh.
Knocked on the door so angrily. But we were talking about chocolate in the movie, and the chocolate being I guess replacing sex. And as someone who's not a huge fan of chocolate, Alien has fucked me. I don't understand it. I've never had chocolate that I was like, it was better than sex. Never.
You can't be a down with love girl, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately.
But when we were talking about the things we loved, there were some things that we didn't care for. I mean, the casual racism, I think, or the implicit, I guess, racism that for not being there, or was one. But what else? I think like just his fuckboy nature.
He was a huge fuckboy, and just like the maliciousness of everything he was saying, and he said it with such a smile and just like, ooh.
Yeah, and like some fuckboys like women. You know, you wonder if he does.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Some fuckboys are just like, I'm a piece of shit. I want to be around women or have women in my life.
Nah.
He's like kind of a piece of shit.
This is a sociopath.
Yeah.
And in so many ways. And he does,
because one of the stewardesses does come back to him. She's like, I'm gonna have sex a la carte, right? So it's not like he's not gonna enjoy himself or enjoy his life anymore because of this book. It's just not on his terms anymore.
Yeah, and that's enough to ruin somebody else's life.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
This entire movie was just to ruin someone's life, and it turns out she knew him so well.
Yeah.
That he was such a bad person that she had this elaborate plan to make this bad person fall in love with her or just notice her.
Let's circle back. There's a mention of Nazis in this movie. But isn't their love just Nazi level sociopathic? Is in the sense of just like, I'm a shark in this manner of like getting to work, getting what I want. I don't care for women beyond like what I can get from them, but somehow you've shown yourself to be equally
on that
zeroed in on things. Let's start a life together.
Procreate.
Is this not the Nazi plan? Is this not it?
Is this an allegory for Nazis?
Is this what we watched? Oh my god, are we promoting it?
No, there's that part of it.
Because that's essentially why he likes her all of a sudden.
At the end,
he's like,
that switch.
This is a peer. This is an equal.
So he did. So I say this thing. Did he love her during all this stuff? Like, did he fall for her, or is it just that switch?
There were times where you think maybe he is, or maybe
like twice. I think there was like twice in this movie where I'm like, oh, maybe he does actually like her.
Care her.
But
the fact that he was going to record her,
he was still doing
in the throes of passion.
At the end of it, he was like, by the way, I fucking got you.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought he wasn't going to do that. Because I thought he was like, oh, character arc.
Yes.
Was there a character arc?
For him?
Yeah. Or any of these characters.
Well,
Other than David Hyde
I mean, I
Pierce,
feel,
that was the only character arc that we really saw.
Oh yeah, he's like growing.
Yeah,
he's like
he's
a growing
the
boy. He's like a
old-
little boy in the beginning, and he's like fighting
like,
to be a man.
Yeah, you're just like every other man.
I'm just like every other man.
So good. And he just swoons in and goes in for the unasked for kiss, and then it works out. Sometimes.
Because it's the 60s.
That's the lesson there. Sometimes if you're just like every other man and you go for the thing you want, you might just get it.
Right, just not get arrested.
Yeah, you got slapped in the face to kiss that woman who just slapped you in the face.
Yeah. Very confusing.
Yeah, put that scene in there too. Let's do it.
Very confusing messaging.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think he cares for her or cares for her enough. He's like she's a mission. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, and
So that like flip, but I will say for Barbara Novak, it's not so much an arc, it's like a zigzag of just like what? Do you know what I mean? Like you're going here and then you zag there and yeah.
Yeah, she plays the confused role very well.
Yeah.
But
she knows what's happening. She's leading the way.
I gotta watch it one more time
Yeah.
to see, even in moments where she's by herself, is she still playing this game? Because I think she might actually be, which might actually just like tug a string at the entire movie. Because I'm sure there's moments where she was alone, where she was just like, but maybe now with clearer eyes. Because
Yeah.
even that point where she's like smoking the cigarette, where she's
Yeah.
just like, there's a
Yeah.
different meaning to the
Yeah.
smoking of that cigarette. There's a different meaning to all of that. So maybe this movie's very clever, and I missed it. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. This movie was very confusing,
No,
but
it's a very smooth movie.
Yeah.
And so like, I think it gets away because it's so smooth.
Yeah, and
Everything's so smooth.
That's the thing. It's just like don't dwell on that.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Look at David Hyde Pierce.
Yes. Look at all this cool visual, things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they took us so many places.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a background or whatever, but they took us so many places.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dancing. That dancing. I wish there's somehow we could show the dancing. It's just like and he's on a mission to dance, doing the monkey. Fuckboy stuff on his end.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the fake name, the lies, the part where she calls out his accent too.
Oh.
Yeah, which I didn't even realize. She knew it
remember.
was fake.
Yeah.
She's just playing with him. You said that a little
Southern
differently.
accent, yeah.
And he just changes the subject. Yeah, he's just a liar. He just lied the whole movie and under false pretenses.
Yeah.
The kiss.
I mean, if you want to talk about it, like, yeah, you're right. The if like these stories are like, I don't know, there's something wrong with like maybe the messaging. Do you know what I mean? Of like, even him like, I'm a man and going in for the kiss, things like that. It's like you're there for the ride, but you're also like,
Ooh. Yeah, like movies like that need like a little caption at the bottom, like no.
Don't try this at home.
No, yeah, please
Do not try this at home.
No, this is a fictional movie.
Yeah, but not too many because there's no time to dwell on anything. You're absolutely right. So even the things that you're like, what was that I just watched, or what is that I laughed at? It's just like you're moving on to the next thing. It's so smooth. It's great.
And I had like a bootleg version, so I didn't feel comfortable or confident enough to rewind.
Oh.
And I wanted to for so many scenes. I was like, wait, what the heck?
It's gonna stop everything.
Exactly. I'll just like lose my copy. I'm like, I'll get it another day. But yeah, there's definitely some points I would love to go back and revisit, which I probably will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about the kiss. Kiss.
The kiss. Which one?
What's the OG kiss? The OG kiss is when he kisses her to stay, isn't it? Isn't that the first kiss?
Yeah, at the apartment.
Yeah, when she's about to leave.
For her, right? At David Hyde Pierce's place.
Yeah, and then he's like, well, I'll get you a
cab. Or
to
whatever.
go home. Like he's he's mind fucking her. He's just like, oh, you want to have sex? Well, guess what? Go to your bed. And he's about to call her a cab. She's like, the fuck? And then she plays him a little mind game too. And then he plays a third mind game by kissing her to keep her from leaving. Because she's like, I'm done with you and whatever. He's like, this ought to hold you.
Reflame the fire a bit.
So once again, the kiss is kind of undercut because you know what the pretense is in which it was done. It wasn't done romantically.
But okay, so that's not. But it's also not the one you're rooting for. You're there. Are you rooting for it there? I think the one you're rooting for is the last kiss, the one in the movie.
Yeah.
Where this is after she tells him that she's been playing him all along, but also that she's discovered that she owes women the down with love mantra. So she kind of cannot be with him, right? So she has her own publication.
She creates up her own thing at the end.
Yeah, she creates her own thing, and he applies for it, and she has to allow him to apply because workers' rights.
Yeah. She's like, I knew you would apply to this.
I knew you would apply.
Once
this
again,
whole I knew thing and taking off the
mat.
wig.
Yeah, there's a lot of Scooby-Doo going on here. I can only imagine the wedding. The wedding would be so chaotic. I'm just like, I knew you'd say this.
Too many outfit changes. Just like, stop.
And like somebody's ex from somebody's past shows up, and like I knew that person would show up, but I knew this. That's why I brought this person. And it's just like, wow, just fuck already. Keep us all out of this and just fuck each other.
And like, so I think that's the kiss, that lead up. That one's sort of more celebratory, and it's kind of filmed in that way too. It's like it even has like a zoom in close up and everything. That's the winning kiss. Yeah, the one you root for because it's literally happily ever after.
Yeah.
Or they want you to.
Yeah, he's like, I want to marry you now. And then, like, he gets a helicopter. He ordered the helicopter before all of this. He even has this countdown on the walkout. That doesn't happen. Yeah. This happens. And then he's got a helicopter on the roof, and they're ready to.
And they have just a competition of, I knew you would do this, and I knew you would do that. And it's just, they're annoying. They're insufferable.
Oh, I could not hang out with this couple.
No, ew.
Oh, imagine just watching them just, like, at the table back and forth. I'm like, oh, like, they're giving each other hand stuff underneath while they do this. Why did we come to this? I'm taking my dish and I'm going home. You can stay if you want. There's a lot of that going on.
It's a potluck.
Yeah. I'm going to take some other stuff with me. I knew you'd both feel uncomfortable with our sexualness. That's why the doors are locked. Ah! Scary. But,
a lot of I news.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. And, yeah, the kiss you can't root for. Should we ask the question?
Yeah.
Just asking, do they deserve love?
Okay, I wrote something.
Please.
And it's not long or anything, but like it kind of summarizes. I don't think they deserve to be together. I think well, for one thing, I don't think they'll last. Like I think they're basically the Beyonce. They're white Beyonce Jay-Z. Okay, in that they're like the apex of their industries. But he's gonna cheat, and she doesn't have a lemonade to create, and yeah, there's no lemonade.
You should write that book. You don't have lemonade. You don't have a lemonade album in the back pocket.
You don't have, or maybe she does, She's
very clever.
But also, as a Beyonce fan, it's a countdown to that relationship.
But when he does cheat, because he will cheat, she will have a plan for that, and she'll
be like, "Knew you'd do this. I knew you would do this."
And then she takes off the mask.
Yeah.
I was the person you were gonna cheat with.
But they're just so. Let's say if they're real people, okay. What they like about each other is so superficial. Do you know what I mean? Even what she likes about him, what she fell for, what was it? Right? He's charming. He's fun.
Yeah.
He's handsome. But
did she see something that other people didn't see? I don't know. I think she just saw what everyone else saw, and she was like, I want that.
Which is fine.
Go for what you want. But yeah.
But it has its
what makes this
has
unique?
Its time span.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It literally does. Like something like that has its time span.
But okay, what's the metric of success of that relationship though? Like, you know,
what's the metric? Okay.
Like Bill and Hillary are still together, but they're not together.
Yeah.
But they're together
true. Enjoy it for what it is, and then be able to walk away from it. Okay, yes, but that's what they're doing. They're marrying, which is a big.
But that's what Bill and Hillary did. But are we saying, do they deserve like the actual, like purest form of I don't know,
affection,
romantic love? No, but also
people.
Yes, because I want these two people off the streets, and I want them housed.
Keep us safe. Yeah. Keep the rest of us safe.
Yeah, exactly. And just do
enough with this. I knew you'd do.
Exactly. Like, this is a lot. I don't like you thinking you're the smartest. Like, if these two people think they're both the smartest person in the room, we all can like.
Imagine courtship being that of like just reading you so well and just like how creepy is that for someone to be like, well, I knew you would respond this way to this because I've been reading all your emails. You know? It's like, whoa.
I know you, so and I knew you'd read those emails, so that's why my password was very easy. No, yeah.
Hello 1 2 3. Yeah.
So yeah, on one level I want to say they don't. On another level I want to say they do.
Yeah.
I don't know which.
I think everything in the movie is so stylized that even their love is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it just in the same way that the story arc is like, I'm in this for the ride. Their love is that.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
This
It's
was definitely a vehicle. It wasn't a journey.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the destination. It was just a journey.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like that last act, that last like 20 minutes, 15 minutes was a little different from everything else, and it kind of felt like a.
What?
Yeah, and we're here, and it's like I get we had to get there, and I get how much time we had left, and my attention span, it could have been going,
True.
but you kept me,
So
that's it works in that. What I'm curious.
But
what
they're not necessarily people you root for. There was no point in the movie where you're like, please end up together. You're just like, where are you taking me? It was like, where are we going with this? You know,
which definitely leads into the rom to com ratio. I want to say, and I think it's like 90-10
comedy.
Yeah,
yes, it's super high on the comedy.
Just comedy. At 10% is
okay. Flip it to David Hyde Pierce and Sarah Paulson's character. Do they deserve love?
Yes, they do. And I'm so happy they found each other because they're gonna just have the
on the
best
flip
of time.
side, you know what's funny is like their flaws are so like upfront, that couple. Whereas the Barbara Novak and Katra Block, their flaws are not on the forefront. They're very like they're you're just like struck by their success or the positive things that going for them. The flaws you got to read into. You're just like, even her like, I knew you'd do this. Just like, this is sociopathic. That's a stalker, guys.
Oh,
that's a straight up stalker.
This plan she had involves millions of people.
People, time and money.
Like she involved herself in a lot of relationships for things she didn't believe in just to get the man that she wanted.
Yeah.
That's
crazy. Yeah. Okay. And on the flip side, he was about to ruin this woman's life just cause.
Yeah. So it's just like.
So you're just like, and sort of like, and so, but it's that those like major flaws aren't on the forefront. They're not the immediate things you think about when you think of these two.
It's one of these things where we kind of like.
Yeah. But Sarah Paulson and David Hyde Pierce, you get their their ugly is very apparent.
And they let each other know of like their problems, and they spoke about it. So just like honestly.
Yeah, you root for them. What's that? Is that Kim Kardashian?
No, that's just a random person on Instagram. But I'm making a video, so we're just gonna be like,
oh gosh,
yeah.
We're laughing about.
We're live talking about Down with Love. So for the people listening at home, what I just did was make an Instagram video during the podcast.
Yep.
That's Inception. That's
Inception level. Yeah.
But yeah, so what's your rom to com ratio?
Oh yeah.
90-10?
90-10, easy.
Yeah. I would even go 95-5.
This is fun. It's just a funny
there
movie. You're not watching this movie in the sense of like to believe in love again.
Yeah, no.
You want to laugh at love, at the idea of it even. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's just a fun little comedy, and yeah. Now
and they sing at the end.
Yeah. What about? Well, yeah, they do. They have a whole song which we'll play to walk us out of this. But what do you have a sequel in mind? Do you have anything like where this movie can go, the next chapter or anything like that?
I did not spend any time thinking about that, but I think we discussed something to get like you brought it up of seeing you tell it.
Yeah, just because it does have a lifespan on it, and take it to the 70s, they get so super successful. She becomes more successful than him, and then it's this whole thing of like where once again we're gonna play with the game with like gender roles. Like, well, she's like the breadwinner. Like, well, then who am I? And then now they feel like alienated, and he cheats or she cheats or somebody cheats. They both cheat, and they both know that they're going to cheat, and then it's the same story at the end. Like, well, I knew all this stuff would happen,
I knew.
And it's all in the 70s. Or we do David Hyde Pierce and Sarah Paulson.
I would love to
just watch that relationship go through. I would watch that.
I would watch that.
I'm going to call them both and be like, can you guys do this again? They're going to be like, who are you? How'd you get this number? That's what they're going to say.
I think it'd be interesting to see them as Jay and Bay, where he cheats, and she, I don't know, does the equivalent of Lemonade.
In
magazine.
It's 16-year-old version of Lemonade. You know, just some type
just
of
exposing him. I don't know, like several stories.
But then keeps him like, this guy's shit, but also we make a lot of money together.
Make a lot of money together.
So I'm not gonna fuck that up. But at the same time, ladies, don't fuck with some cheater unless they will help your bottom dollar really well.
I don't know.
Is that the message? I don't know, but that's fun. I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that.
I hope you guys enjoy it too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I talk about this movie so much because it's not brought up as much as I'd like it to be when people talk about rom-coms. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So that was it. That was Down with Love. This is the Do They Deserve Love podcast. I am Alan Shane Lewis.
I'm Sarah Galideria.
And you guys, thanks for listening. Let us know in the comment section or on Twitter or what you think we should do next.
Yeah,
what's our Instagram again? It's been there.
Do they just DTDL
on Twitter? And then same on Instagram? Okay, so there you go. Tweet us, let us know which one you want us, movie you want us to do in the next one. Take care.
The moon, the June, the roses and rainbows ends. Down with songs that moan about night and day. Down with the love, yes, take it away.